The Chinese government has ordered its citizens to stockpile basic needs. Could this be an indication of what is to come?
In recent weeks, shopping at this Beijing fresh food market has become more expensive.
The price has gone up. We can't afford it. We had to buy some vegetables from the dealers on the street.
The prices of common vegetables, such as cucumbers, spinach, and broccoli, have doubled. The government issued a notice advising households to stockpile daily necessities. It sparked panic and heated discussion online. Last month, crops in China's northeast, a major food-growing region, were destroyed by unusually heavy rains.
Experts say China's emergency food reserves and mechanisms are generally in good shape. But while there isn't a shortage, price hikes and supply disruptions have been hurting those who can least afford it. Those in China's lowest income bracket living in smaller cities and rural areas.
God's people should be foremost in the preservation of human life. So what can we do to practically get ready for what is to come?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Seed Time and Harvest. This is going to be a little bit of an exciting, or I should say interesting episode. I'm going to take you into transplanting some veggies and show you what we have around the garden. Stay tuned. You may be wondering what this is. This is what we call yam. In Jamaica, yam. You have different type of yam. You have yellow yam, you have purple yam, you have white yam. I don't really like yam, but this is the white yam, and this is the vine where we get the yam from. It's deep down in the earth, but when we dig it up, you can get the yam. It's pretty starchy. It's I heard it's very good. My mom likes it, but it's very healthy and it's good for you. So if you have a chance, you should grow yam. When you grow yam, you can start it from the head, which is this part that's attached to the plant. So when you harvest it, you basically cut this part off and then put it back in the ground and it will regrow. Or you can have the seeds. Here you can see this vine has a lot of seeds just coming down out of it. And when they fall, they get in contact with the ground, they'll just start growing. So this is where you get yam seeds. These are the yam seeds. And we have a lot of them. I tried to get rid of them, but it's very hard to because I didn't plant this, but somehow yam just keep coming up all over the yard. This big, gigantic yam comes from this tiny seed right here. It fell off the vine and now it's made its way down in the ground, and it will stay and grow until it becomes another big vine giving us more yam. But it's in a spot where I don't want it, so I'm gonna see if I'll either throw it away or replant it somewhere else. But this is where it all starts. In this section of the garden, I intended to plant carrots. Unfortunately, I had the baby seeding with me, planting seeds with me at the time I started the carrots, so I realized that we have a lot of lettuce coming up right here. Not only lettuce, but we have callaloo that's regrowing. So I'm going to take out the callaloo and the lettuce, cut down the callaloo, transplant the lettuce so that the carrots have enough space to grow. I'm going to show you a nice way how you can save space and transplant your greens while recycling your compost. This is my favorite part of the yard. It's really, really pretty. My mixed green patch. In this little section is where I plant most of my winter veggies, or at least start my winter veggie seeds, and then as I go I harvest them. You have several varieties here that can be harvested as baby greens, or they can be harvested as mature plants. Some things I plant, some were also volunteers. Salad greens, very accessible. I can walk from the kitchen into this little patch right here and get some fresh greens in the garden, and it's just really pretty.
Sharice, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I noticed that your garden is not like most gardens where they have just a row of the same thing. Why is that?
Well, when you plant different varieties, it really confuses bugs that may be prone to eat one variety of food. So the scent is all mixed in, they're all confused. So we don't have a lot of bugs in our garden when we mix it up in a sense. And for the fact that winter is approaching, it's really cool. So we don't have a lot of bugs. That's why this is winter time. Winter gardening is the best time to plant because your greens have less holes in them.
So in other words, the rows of the same thing would attract that bug, and you may have an infestation, and then
Correct.
crop would be devastated
Yeah.
as a result.
You have crop failure when you have one row of everything. So it's good to add a little bit of this, add a little bit of that, especially planting in herbs and different types of flowers that have very strong scent. It's always nice to clean up your sugarcane.
Is that a sharp machete you have there?
Not really. Well, I guess it is sharp.
It looks like it's just cutting right through it.
This one came from Jamaica. This is a pallet that I use to grow my strawberries in. This is, in Jamaica we call it coco. I think the Haitians call it malanga. In America they call it what, elephant ear, I think? I don't know, but the root of it is edible, of this one. Now you gotta make sure you know which one it is because some of them do scratch. But this one is edible. This is my bok choy. It's so pretty, isn't it? This is a nice bok choy. It's gonna be for dinner tomorrow. We have, originally, this is supposed to be my strawberry patch because the wood from the pallet gives a nice resting place for the strawberries to lay on. But now I have bok choys, we have beans, cocoa, callaloo, everything coming up in here. Here we have some cabbage. These are some early cabbage that we planted over here and they're looking pretty good. You can see that they're starting to curl. The most beautiful thing about coming and looking at these cabbages are I'm not seeing any holes in them, so that means they're pretty healthy. And the leaves are pretty big, if you can see. So we have some nice cabbage coming up. In this bed right here, I have collards. I think I have 6 or 7 collard plants and the cabbage in there, and it's the same thing. I'm not seeing any holes. In terms of spraying, we haven't done any spraying as yet. We generally do spray with neem oil, but I've been trying to interplant my veggies along with adding different flowers, which are natural pest repellents, to see how that goes, and it's working out pretty well. I do notice some insect bites on the callaloo, but I also have wasps that are that are cutting up the callaloo leaves, but it's not pretty bad. And I am seeing bees. I'm always happy when I see bees. So the marigold are natural pest repellents, and we have a lot of them in this garden bed right here. I don't know if you can see, well, probably you would be able to see. These are kale plants that are coming up. I may have to move them because the cabbage is pressing down on them. And this is amarynat, which I'm starting to grow as well. I started that from seeds. There were supposed to be 2 of them, but I think the other one got crowded out. This is a basil, which is also an insect repellent, which is also very good to add to the garden.
Yeah, I can smell it.
If you're wondering what this beautiful coneflower is, this is an echinacea. It's a very beneficial flowering herb. You can use the roots after 2 years of plant growth. You can use the roots for medicine. We have a couple echinacea plants up front, and then we have some in the back. There is one right here also. Shall we go for a walk today? A walk today, a walk today. Shall we go for a walk today and see what God has given? June plums. Look at these. And this is a dwarf June plum plant. It already has a lot of fruit. We have right here, if you ask a Jamaican, they'll tell you it's a Jamaican cherry. If you ask someone from whatever Caribbean island, they'll tell you it's their version of cherry. This is a gungo plant, and it's so pretty. It brings a lot of life to the garden with all its colorful petals, you know, the yellow and the red, and then it has a lot of pods already. This is a suitcase, an old suitcase that has served us well in our travels, but now it's came to the end of its course to be used as a suitcase, but we converted it into a little planter. And we have lettuce, curled leaf lettuce. We have spinach. In here we have spearmint, lemon balm. And then this side we planted beets. So a little beet patch, and it's doing pretty well.
Here we have a bee drinking water, getting ready to work in our garden. A little worker bee. Praise the Lord.
2 years ago, I had this branch falling off my peach tree. I think somebody decided to swing on the plant, on the tree, and this branch started to fall off. I thought about throwing it away, but then I was like, I wonder if I stick it in the ground, it will grow back. And it sure did. Not only did it grow, but the first year that I put it in the ground, we got peach. And this is the second year of this peach, and look at how beautiful it is. All the flower it has on, and I even see a baby peach right here. So this is promising. This is very promising. And it just goes to show, you know, God will give us fruit when we think that it's not going to be possible to have food. So this is a little peach right here. This part of the garden, my husband thought it was an eyesore, but it's a very pretty eyesore, I must say. Here we have some broccoli that we transplanted in this garden bed, and we have a lot of spinach coming up right here. We have lettuce, different varieties of lettuce, more radish. This is the second set of radish that we planted. And then we have the volunteer tomatoes coming up. We put them in this bed, and it's a double-decker bed because underneath we also have things growing underneath. In this section we have carrots, and then we have what do you call it, Swiss chards, and then we have beets, and then the blocks over here we have spinach. Thank you for joining us on our short garden walkthrough with Seedtime and Harvest. I hope you got some tips as to what you can plant in the winter, as well as how to plant your garden. All right, until next time, thank you for joining us. Happy planting!
Bye.